Are you ready?
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. It's been a busy day for me. It's been a very busy day for me. I have watched so many episodes of reactions I'm trying to catch up to. Tomorrow is going to be another day as well for me, but this is the last reaction I'm doing for the day. Episode 50 of Nirvana in Fire Part 2. And of course, you know, they had to give your boy a shout out, the GOAT, Mei Chang-soo, aka Lin Shu. You know what I'm saying? They had to give him a shout out in the last episode, and it was great because I was like, yo, is it the tunnel that leads from Prince Jing's manor over to the Sue residence? You know what I'm saying? That's what I was like, I caught that really quick. I was proud of myself. Yes, I was proud of myself. Anyways, for remembering that. That was pretty cool that they included that in it, because I remember that it was kind of like outside the it was kind of like outside the city limits. It wasn't exactly in the palace area. It was like, you know what I'm saying, it was like closer to the edge because nobody wanted to live there anymore because of what happened with the kids and the stuff, and you know, they buried the freaking girls in the well and shit. And I think it's the same place that I'm speaking of. I might be wrong, who knows. I don't, you know what I'm saying, I think I remember exactly where it was, but I knew I remember that it was kind of like, he wasn't like, his manor was not in like the inside the main palace of any kind, and he chose that strategically because it had that tunnel that connects it to where Prince Jing was staying. So he actually, you know what I mean, he planned that out perfectly because it was like it was adjacent to where Prince Jing stayed. So he had from the get-go that he was going to support Prince Jing. But I'm not here to talk about Nirvana in Fire, you know what I'm saying, the GOAT series. I've even been, you know what I'm saying, telling people over on that watches my House of the Dragon reactions to go watch Nirvana in Fire Part 1, because it's in the same thing and it's just so great of a show. The writing in that show is, to me, very few flaws, very few mistakes that they made, you know what I'm saying, if any, you know what I mean. So it is what it is. Let's get to the reaction. Final episode of Nirvana in Fire Part 2. Let's go. I will see you guys at the end for my series review. Let's go. Ooh. Yo, what I tell you? What did I tell you? Yes. That's what I was saying at the end of the last episode. It's like, do you really think you're gonna be able to kill the Emperor with all these dudes around? You don't think that with so many eyes on you, you don't think nobody's gonna see you pulling the bow on us? Like, that was such a dumb move, dude. You were asking to die. Oh, you just... Oh, he going out like a boss. Die on the battlefield. This man could have lived in peace, you know. It's like, nigga, you came to see me, looked me in the eye. You a bitch ass nigga, dude. Such a coward, bro. Ain't no questions to ask you.
因为我无论如何都想不明白。
你想不明白，也许是因为你从来都没在乎过吧。无论是大梁还是东海，要么对我不屑一顾，要么就是拿我当棋子。
看来在你眼中，你走到今天这步，居然全是别人之责。
Yeah, it's other people's faults, right?
你总是抱怨世间冷漠，人情淡薄。
你赢了， 你自然可以站在这教训我。可如果没有你横插一手，如果是我得了江山，是我开创了大梁的盛世繁华，100年之后的定论，又有谁能说我错了？
你居然会是一个更好的皇帝。
Why is he pulling up with a sword like he knows how to use it?
陛下，
萧元石，他不过就是生于龙位之上。论起资质，他哪一点比我强？劳务、军务，他有过什么长进？面对这样一个平庸之辈，难道你长林王府就从来没有失望过吗？
It ain't even about that. And that's what you need to understand. Like, it's not about that. Like, and it's kind of like the same thing that it's the same thing that I was trying to say in watching House of the Dragon, where I was saying that Rhaenyra should not inherit the throne. It was just basically her daddy, right, wanted to give it to her and never changed it over, because it's like she was not supposed to. She was only named the heir because her daddy couldn't have boys. So in order of succession and tradition, she should never have been named heir, but she just became it by default because of the fact that he couldn't have any boys at the time, right? His wife was, all of his kids were girls, right? And every time he had a boy, or every time a boy was supposed to, something happened with the wife. It's like he was never supposed to have boys with this woman, right? And the situation is this: if you look at it and you say, oh, this person is not fit to rule, right? But it's the way how succession works. You can't curtail succession just because you don't agree with how succession works. The tradition is that if you find a strong line of kings, right? If you find a strong line of kings, what happens is that if my son, he's going to be strong as well. I'm going to teach him my ways so that he can be a good king as well. Same thing. My eldest son is going to take over from me when I die. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. That's just how it works. And if the current king dies before his son is old enough to take the throne, right? He still has to take the throne. He still has to take the throne and then learn, have his advisors and stuff like that, and learn as you go along. It's just how succession works. You don't know the future, and it's the same thing here again, as in the same scrutiny. It's the same scrutiny that they gave to Shaolin. Is just like, you don't know if they're gonna be disloyal in the future. Why worry about that? You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yuanshi could become, it's so funny, they have practically the same damn name. He could become the best out of all of his lineage. He could be the best. He could be greater than, you know what I'm saying, Prince Jing. He could be better than his father. You don't know. So to cut that off just because he's not doing a great job now, your duty as a soldier is to protect the kingdom until he's old enough to make those good decisions. He's gonna make mistakes. Great kings make mistakes too. But you gotta give him the opportunity to prove that he can step into those shoes. Now, if he didn't start taking it serious, I would be saying that he's not fit to be emperor, but he actually started to take it serious and start doing those duties. You know what I'm saying? Because you know I was really tough on him. You guys know how tough I was on Yuanshi. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how tough I was on him when I was saying that he's letting his uncle and his mom drive him down this road and he won't make decisions for himself. And he won't listen to the Grand Prince who have been doing this for 40, 50 years. It's insane. Like, you got a dude that has experience that is, and your daddy tell you, listen to this guy, and you don't listen.
他的未来不是你现在能想明白的。
我确实看不到萧元石的将来。
It's not your job to worry
此刻
about
你
what the
拼力
future
保
is.
他，并非坚信他能成为一代英主，占着大义名分而已。
陛下，如果这就是你的想法，那萧元启，你今天根本就不明白自己为什么输了。没错，陛下的将来尚是个未知之数，但是你萧元启，50万的居民百姓，在你眼中，不过就是进阶之梯。你居然还敢问自己为什么没有执掌天下的资格？
陛下总是来的这么及时啊！我正要恭喜长林王呢。
恭喜什么？
长林王与这至尊宝座之间，怕是没什么障碍了吧？
莱阳王知道吗？如果平津哥哥真的有心，长林王府真的有心，很早之前，金陵朝局就不会是今天这般模样，远不及先帝那般睿智。但朕至少知道什么是真心，什么是贼人的挑拨。
Talk your shit, man.
看在你我曾经也算朋友的份上，能否请长林王单独与我一战？
We need this one-on-one, baby. We need it. And they know we need it.
大东家，
Why they make it seem like he died, bro?
快去告诉平津，萧元启的武功绝不可轻视。快去！
是。
既然长林王已经答应了，还请陛下静观吧。
The thing about it is that Pingjing has improved as well, so he's holding his own though. Him with the shadow clone jutsu.
陛下，
Come on, Pingjing, let's go. You see what he used to block that? Bitch ass out of here.
平津哥哥，
Yo, the protection, man.
我虽然知道你勾连东汉，但没想到你与墨子后联系的如此紧密。萧元启，你忘了他是你的杀母仇人了吗？
当然没忘，东海已经是大梁的死敌了。在我的密室里，有一本书册，送给长林王，就当是报答大伯父当年教导军务之恩。
下上楚家，单独关押以待候审。
是。
杀！杀！
Nah. I respect it. I respect it.
杀了他！
We not waiting, bro. I'm with it. A bit excessive. Okay.
舅舅，他们做的每一个决定，下的每一道旨意，说的每一句话，哪一个不是为了朕？
有些事
It's
情，
very conflicting.
尤其是这样的事情，确实不可能轻易抹去。您知道平章大哥的生父是谁吗？那再说一个您知道的人，当年的老莱阳王，他与先帝同父同母，都曾由武敬爷亲自教导长大。他们两个一样吗？陛下将来是什么样的人，只在于从今日起，陛下想成为什么样的人。
This kid's gonna have a really good career as well. He's a really good actor. He's a really good actor. Chang Ling. Open them doors up, put that banner back up.
我这就安排人收拾打扫一下。
不必重开府邸，从东门出入也很方便。把大哥原本的屋子收拾一间出来，我暂时住下就好。
是。
So he's not planning to go back? Or I guess he's gonna go.
将军，你现在忙得连口饭都
Gonna be the new general.
重建雨林的事，由荀大统领暂时代理，兵部协办。
朕也相信岳将军能够胜任。
But
微臣还有一事，万望陛下恩准。
朕不准。
he's not gonna allow him to leave.
看来陛下已经猜到微臣所请，因为何事了？
得知你没有重开王府，而是暂住兄长故居的时候，朕就明白你不愿意重回朝堂了。
陛下如此睿智，将来金陵朝堂上肯定是人才济济。臣觉得自己微薄之力已经不能再帮陛下什么忙了。陛下日后若真的还需要微臣，臣自当如往前一样，尽忠效力。
日后不管身处何处，不要忘了金陵故教，要时时送些书信回来。
臣遵旨。
王爷，
不是说好城门相送吗？岳将军怎么在这里啊？
虽然与王爷相处时日不久，但是不知道为什么，就是想多送你一程。
不少人轮番来劝我，岳将军也算是唯一一个没有说话的人。
那大概是因为，只有我赞同王爷的决定吧？
是吗？
王爷从廊州起兵擒王，召得10万大军。这世上，最怕的就是有心人。您若是留在朝堂之上，必然位高权重。这样的事情，眼下看起来虽然没什么，从王爷当年离京守孝便可以看出，这些人心算计，您不是应付不了，而是打从心底里觉得厌烦。说句实话，末将也不是对谁都如此坦诚。
好，为何敢在无人相信的情况下，仍然举报萧元起？又为何敢在陛下身陷险境的时候，只身犯险，站在数万叛军之前，做那些看起来毫无胜算的事情呢？
Ah, man.
将军身上最难得的地方，也许正是这点不聪明。
The boys.
陛下有令，将来不管何人为帅，大梁北境军永以长林为名。
但陛下能在我辞行之后颁下这道旨意，还是很令人欣慰的。 告辞。
保重。
撤。
Theme just hits you, man. Damn. What a show. Can't wait for part 3, man. Hope they bring it like this.
撤。
Hey, yo. No way, bruh. No way. I thought it was over. I thought it was over.
无论如何也要找到你。
因为你说过，无论我走到哪里，你都能找到我的。
将来未必能一世安稳，李信。
It's like if I have to
你真的
return.
愿意与我此生相守？
愿意。
The goat? I'm saying. Oh my god. Wow. I didn't think when I started watching this part of the show, I didn't think I would have ended up being emotional at the end. I really didn't. But well, the review is gonna be fire, so stick around for that. Alright. Let's go. So, Nirvana in Fire 2. Nirvana in Fire Part 2 review. Wow, what a series. What a series. What a series of greatness. You know, I still would like to thank, if that person is still watching, I'm not sure if that person is still watching, that suggested Nirvana in Fire some years ago to me. And it's been on the list for a very long time for me to watch. And I finally got a chance, and I finally decided, I should say, or got around to it, to actually watch Nirvana in Fire. And it was an amazing experience. Part 1 was just, mwah, it was chef's kiss, perfection, if you will. You know, then part 2, when I was fishing around to see what everybody that watched part 1 with me during the reactions, if I should watch part 2, is it necessary to watch part 2? Right? A lot of people, I would say the overwhelming majority of people, did not want me to watch part 2. They didn't suggest it, they didn't recommend it, they said it's not as good. In that point, I agree with them. It's not as good, but it is still good. You know, I think both parts are must-watch TV. That's how I look at the you know, part 1 and 2 of Nirvana in Fire. I never knew that I would enjoy C-dramas this much. And the reason why I kind of transitioned over into that was because of watching Squid Game. It was like, oh man, you know what, some, you know, foreign people, they're making some good stuff over there. What's going on? Right? So that was the craze that came off of. I was like, oh, Squid Game is pretty cool. You know, at the time I didn't know that Nirvana in Fire was a C-drama. It just was a suggestion from way back. I didn't know that it was. And then somebody reminded me when somebody actually suggested Nirvana in Fire under one of my Squid Game videos. And I was like, ah, you know, that's been on my list for a while. Oh, I'm gonna check that out for sure now. So needless to say, Nirvana in Fire Part 2 was absolutely enjoyable. And I will reiterate this again, as I've said it many times during my reviews for the episodes, was that it's not as good as part 1. I think a lot of the episodes that begun it could have been condensed down into less episodes. I think this series could have been 40 episodes. I think it could have been 40 episodes, not 50. I think a lot of the stuff was fluff in the beginning, but everything started to matter from about episode 16 on forward, because they started to connect things, started to build the story a lot better. So I think forward to that, it lost points for me, but in my eyes, the whole collective is still really, really good, right? It's still great in my eyes. So let's talk about Nirvana in Fire Part 2, just in general, when it comes on to the storytelling, you know, what they did with the visuals. And I think the story stands out more than anything else, because there wasn't much action. There was action, but there wasn't much of it. And that's a common theme that I notice in these shows that I watch. Is a little bit, I mean, in C dramas, you don't get a lot of action, but when you do, you get hyped up because it looks really cool, right? You know, I forgot that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was a movie, essentially was a Chinese movie, right? Made for, I would say, an American audience. I don't know, but it was a Chinese movie. You never took it like that, because it was, I don't know if that movie was produced in Hollywood or was it produced in China and then redone in Hollywood. I'm not sure. I don't know the history of the movie, okay? All I know is that is the first movie that I watched, right, where we had the whole string situation with the martial arts, where people would just look like they're floating, and it was just fascinating to me. And I think it's kind of like what took the world by storm, because it was like a different type of martial arts being seen on the big screen. Didn't know that, you know what I'm saying? Because it just looked it looked very natural and just very floaty. Just, it's fantasy, right? But at the very same time, it was like, that shit look real. You know what I mean? But I don't know how they do it. And then, of course, so many different movies have followed suit with using that style of martial arts and just making things look very neat and very put together, and still looking very real. So I bring that up to say, you know, when you see the big battles and stuff like that in this series and stuff like that, it's never the highlight. It's always a moment. You know what I'm saying? It's always a moment of a moment, if you will, right? It's always something that's happening. Something dramatic is happening. It's not even really about the battle. You know what I'm saying? And if it is about the battle, it's very brief, right? It's very brief. It's very subtle, also in teaching you something. The one battle that we saw that actually kind of meant something, you know, for the story itself, was between, you know what I'm saying, of course, the between Deng Hai and the city of Liang, right? So it's crazy. Is it Jingling? Is Jingling City? I listen, I'm gonna mess up these names, okay? So it's just the one where he was waiting on the solar eclipse to happen, so that he can, the opportunity he didn't miss, that got Ping Jing in trouble, right? It was the only battle that really, like, that we saw to the fullest of its extent of, you know, what the possibility could be, to see a battle, right? In part one, the battle that we saw out to its fullest was when Prince Yu rebelled and sent, you know what I'm saying, all these soldiers to go take out the emperor, and, you know what I'm saying, Mei Changsu. All of them was in the castle, like, worried and stuff like that, because Prince Jing went to get help, right? That was the only other battle that we saw. Of course, in the beginning of this series, we saw a battle in the beginning, but it was mainly just to get Ping Jing to get injured, and the story pursued from there. Now, what I want to say about this series is that, as I said, they could have cut it down to about 40 episodes. I think it could have been 40 episodes, because I think a lot of those beginning episodes, the first like 15 episodes, it could have been dropped down to probably 5 or 6 episodes. I'm not even gonna kid you. It was a lot of fluff. It was a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Ping Jing was pissing me off because of his attitude, but they kind of did that stuff on purpose to show how naive, because he didn't really have any responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? He was essentially being pampered because that's where Grand Prince sent him to, you know, learn. You know what I'm saying? He was learning martial arts and stuff like that. So he would more have this kind of like carefree attitude about himself before he came back to the capital. And even when he came back to the capital, he was still pissing me off, because I'm just like, dude, do you see what these dudes have to be going through just because of who they are? You know what I'm saying? And he still just have this carefree attitude about him until, you know, certain things happen, until, you know, people started dying. You know what I'm saying? People getting sick. You know, of course, he started to care about, you know what I'm saying, Lin Xie. And it's just one of those things where I see in the series and understand the story for itself and what they could do. Is like there's no characters in this show that I can look at and be like, ah, man, they could have done you a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think every casting was just so perfect, the way how they did it, just to showcase who these characters are and what they're about. And I think they did an excellent job of that. I found no fault with anybody just, you know, building a character through story, character development and stuff like that. They really, you know, they built up, especially the Empress, right? They built her up to be this villain of sorts. Not really. She was just being protective of her son and of the kingdom, her and her brother, right? Both of them had the kingdom's best interests at our heart, but they were going about it the wrong way. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like what, you know, the emperor said in the end when he was, you know, praying in front of the you know, was mourning, and Ping Jing was there, and he essentially said to him that what have they ever done that was not because of him? You know what I'm saying? Because of him, because of making him, you know, in his best interest. What have they done? You know what I'm saying? And I have to say that's a very powerful line, because it's no secret that I never really liked them, because they were hating on dudes that were loyal when they're being loyal to what they need to be loyal to, but they're hating other dudes that are being loyal as well and not showing any sign of rebellion. But who's not to say that I can't look at you as well that are being loyal? What this, because you're, you know what I'm saying, because the next emperor is your kid and your nephew. Like, I can still look at you the same way and say, I don't know if you gain too much power, if you wouldn't usurp the throne. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't look at stuff like that, because you know what? If the problem arises, then you deal with the problem. But right now, you get what I'm trying to say? It's kind of like with the situation with Yuan Shi. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really don't know who's gonna rebel until they do. But there are signs. There are signs that you could look at, you know, but they were so blinded towards that, because there's no way this guy just took back seven places and, you know, he's trying to take over. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you see anybody in a company rising too fast, they're doing something. I'm telling you, they are doing something. I've never seen it where people rise fast in companies, or just in general, just gaining rank after rank. They're doing something, my guy. People don't just hand out that stuff. Companies don't just hand out promotions. You know what I'm trying to say? You got to perform over a specific, whether it's specific, whether they tell you, hey, you want to get to manager, this is what you got to do. If they don't line it out to you, it's going to take you a long time. So if you see somebody getting promoted like every week, every 2 weeks, every month, they're getting promoted, look into it. They're probably boinking the boss or something. Okay? There's something to it. It's not just work. I promise you, it's never just work. There's something else going on. Either the boss likes them, or I'm talking about like romantically. Like they like them, have a crush on them, or they want to sleep with them, or something. There's always more to it. Because the average experience for everybody is not the same. So there's got to be something that person is doing differently. Now, you could say it could be the work. They might be doing double, triple your numbers, right? It might be that. It might be that. But the odds of it being that is very, very low. You know what I'm saying? The odds of it being that is very, very low. So a lot of times when I see stuff happening, you see somebody just rising in ranks like that, especially in military, and you're talking to someone that knows about the military, okay? Knows about the military, right? That stuff don't happen. You have to grind, bro. This ain't freaking Starship Troopers or whatever, okay? You have to grind, and you have to do some things to rise in rank in the military, man. You got to do some things. You got to have some accomplishments, bro. You know what I'm saying? To rise in rank, right? You don't become general. You don't get those kind of ranks over no 1 year, 2 year period. That's a lifer. You know what I'm saying? That's a lifer. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 15, 20 years plus, right? So those are the stuff that I will be looking at. See somebody rising too far, getting everything, you know what I'm saying? Get to marry, literally probably the prettiest girl in the kingdom currently, you know what I'm saying? And he wanted to align himself with that family. You know what I'm saying? That's because that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted. And everybody was taking everything else for granted. It was like, man is deceiving you guys right in front of your face. And nobody saw it. But yet, the people were there that was protecting, that was doing the thing, and all of that. Oh, they dogged him out. You know, so the story was excellently told. I liked it a lot. Man, I liked it. Got a lot of emotions running through at the end, man. Just seeing Xiangling coming back. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing them coming back, coming together for their duty. That is the reason why Mei Chang-su did all he did. That's the reason. And that's why, it's one of the reasons why I got emotional, because that's what I was recalling. I was like, yo, look at all that Mei Chang-su, Lin Shu went through, right? Look at all that he went through to set this up, to get this all for the kingdom. Even, I mean, he didn't even choose. I mean, Mei could have manipulated the entire situation and got his family on top. You get what I'm saying? But instead, because he knows that the empire needs to stay intact, of how loyal they are. Like, that stuff is not learned, man. It's built. It's just built in. You come with it. You know what I'm saying? You come with it, man. That kind of loyalty, you can't buy that kind of loyalty, man. And that's why I ride with them so hard, bro. That's why I ride with them so hard, because I just love that aspect of the show. It's the reason why, as I said during the show, it's the reason why I love Naruto as an anime so much, because loyalty is a big deal. and you can't buy that kind of loyalty anywhere, bro. It's an anomaly. So when you see it, you're just like, man, that's really good. That's great. So yeah, man, Nirvana in Fire Part 2 really did pick up after about episode 17, and it just kept on going with the death of Grand Prince, death of Beijing. Everything just hit so hard. Everything just hit so hard. The storytelling was just awesome, from Pu Yang to you know, all the different villains who not telling me that, you know what I'm saying, that freaking, I mean, and trust me, man, the performances, nobody had a weak performance in the show. None of the main characters, down to the emperor, the kid. Like, I started praising him at the end because it was like, he played his part so well. Can't imagine what type of actor he's going to be in the future. He's going to be great. He did an excellent job of playing who he is. You know what I'm saying? He just did an excellent job. This is an excellent job, bro. You know, of course, everybody give a shout out to Yuan Shi's, you know, the villain role. You know what I'm saying? For playing that role, he did an awesome job as well. He wanted you to hate him, and he dived into that role head first. You know what I mean? He dived into that role head first, man, and he did an excellent job. So, man, the story was so good. The story was so good, man. I'm glad that they kind of gave me what I wanted at the end. Because at first I was saying I did not like that narrative choice of telling me that Lin is not going to wait on Beijing. I'm like, really? I was like, after all this time, this is what you're gonna give us? You're gonna, because he gotta go do something. She can't wait to go do research on plants. Really? But they got that. They gave me that resolution in the end of her waiting on him, finish this battle, and she went to go meet him at the famous gazebo. You know what I'm saying? That's what we call that stuff in America. Those things where, you know what I'm saying, they're like markers. That's what we call them in America. I don't know I don't know what would be the name for it in Mandarin, but yeah, Mandarin. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but we call those gazebos, man. Met him at the gazebo, the famous one where Ni Wang and Mei Chang-su, you know, when she finally found out that was Lin Shu, it's become like a marker in your mind for Nirvana in Fire, because it's like, oh, he passed the gazebo. He just left the city, right? That's crazy, but awesome times, man. This was an incredible watch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the reactions with me. Let me know as much. Don't forget to hit the like button. I'm going to give Nirvana in Fire Part 2 a 9 out of 10. Easily a 9 out of 10, maybe even 9.5. But I'm going to stick with 9 out of 10 because it really picked up. As I said, it's the overall body of things, right? As I said, I'm just going to say it lost a point because I think a lot of the episodes, the beginning episodes, was not needed, right? I think they could have condensed a lot of that stuff into less episodes. It didn't need to take 15 episodes for them to do all of that. I think a lot of the stuff that they set up in the beginning didn't need to set up because it turned out to be really nothing. A lot of that stuff could be condensed, but that's how it is. It's a TV show. You're gonna have fluff sometimes, right? You're not gonna have it hard hitting every episode, and I get that they need to set up, they need to get you used to the characters and stuff like that. But I think it still could have been condensed into less episodes. But that's just me. So 9 out of 10, Nirvana in Fire Part 2, man. It was an excellent watch. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this journey. I definitely enjoyed it. It was a lot to take in. Can't wait for Part 3. Hope you guys have a good time. It's your boy Terabyt Reacts, and I'm out. And I'll see you next time. Peace.